What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another tutorial video over here at the German's channel. This time we're going to step away from 5M and we're going to start branching out to different games. So today, as you can see in the title, I'm going to show you how to create a Rust server. Rust has been out for a while. It's still a very popular game. It's actually a game I started playing recently. So I'm like, why not start a video series on Rust? So in this tutorial here, we're going to show you how to just create your baseline vanilla server Rust, and then in the future videos on how to upload your own plugins, customize it, things of that nature. So let's jump right into it. It's real easy. There's a few steps that might take a little bit, but it's very, very easy. So the first thing I'm going to need you to do is go over to Google, or you can head into the description. Everything I do in this video will be in the description as well. And just type in Steam CMD, just like that. It will be the very first link. Go ahead and click it. It'll bring you to this exact website. And this website link will be in the description as well. Scroll down until you see download Steam CMD. Download the zip. Open the zip. Close out of the browser. We do not need it anymore. Now what we're going to do is create a folder on the desktop or wherever you want. It does not matter. This is call it server YouTube. We'll call it YouTube server, if I know how to spell. Now before I continue, there are many different ways you can go about how to save these files, how to organize these files. I'm just going to fly right through it with the most streamlined way possible. I can create a future video on how to clean it up. I might even create a future video on how to use a game host or dedicated server, which, if you're not aware what they are, they're servers specifically designed just to run whatever you're intending to run versus all of Windows or whatever. It just gets rid of lag and a lot of other issues. So I may create a tutorial video on using most likely a game host, because there's so many good game hosts out there for Rust, and they are even easier than this. You just buy it, rent it, and boom, you have your server and you can just upload your plugins. This is the VPS/Windows version. Obviously there's a few more steps to it, but I will create a video in the future for a dedicated or a game host if that's what you guys like to see. So let's continue. Let's take that Steam CMD and go ahead and drag it into that folder you just created. Go ahead and open that folder and just run Steam CMD. Now this may take a second. Hopefully it doesn't take too long for the sake of this video. But it's going to vary depending on your computer. The faster your computer it is, the faster your VPS is, the faster this will go. As you can see, we're populating all kinds of files and folders over here. Pretty much for downloading the base of Steam to be able to run a Steam server, because it's running off of Steam, obviously, is the Steam CMD. As you can see, it's already finished. Fantastic. Now we need to log in. You can log in your normal Steam account. Let's not do that. It's just too much work. So we're going to log in anonymously. All we're going to do is type in login, just like that. And now comes the hardest part, making sure we spell anonymous correctly. If you don't know how to spell anonymous like myself, go ahead and go into the video description and copy and paste it. I'm going to go for it here. Hopefully I don't mess it up the first rounds. So anonymous, just like that. I already messed it up. I spammed the keyboard too hard. Anonymous. Big word. If done correctly, it'll say connected anonymously to Steam Public. Okay, it'll load a couple of things, waiting for user info. This shouldn't take very long. As you can see, it says Steam new line there. That means we're ready to go. Now we're actually going to download the Rust server. Very easy. This line of code will also be in a description if you just would like to copy and paste it. But we're just going to go ahead and type app_update. This pretty much means, hey, we want to update the files to include this, whatever. Now, the Rust server is going to be a code. It's going to be 258550. That's the actual Rust update or the name, whatever, so Steam knows what to download. And then we're going to validate at the end. Go ahead and hit OK. Now, this is going to take a little bit since we're completely... Oh, it's not downloading. 25. Did I typo? 258550. No, that's the correct one. Okay, so it's going to go ahead and download it now. And hopefully it doesn't take too long. You can kind of see the progress. But what we'll do then, we're going to go ahead and create an update folder. Obviously, you have to always make sure your server's up to date. If it's not up to date, it won't show in the server lists. You can run into issues. So you always want to make sure everything's up to date. So, once a week. I know Rust, I believe, updates once a month, every 30 days. So you want to be able to update it every 30 days. So what we're going to do is come right over here. The first thing we want to do is make sure we can see file name extensions. Mine, you already can. Now, Windows 10, Windows 11, I'm using Windows 11. You might still be on Windows 10. They're the same, but they're not really. Just go into an option that's called View, Show, and then File Name Extensions. This is how you do it in Windows 11. Windows 10, there should be, same way up on the top somewhere we can expand the view. It's a little bit different, but it's just going to be named exactly the same. Just go ahead and make sure you do that. Now, once you have done that, go ahead and create a new text document. As you can see, when I created it, it says .txt. That's the file name extension. Go ahead and highlight everything. Type in Rust Update. You can name it whatever, Update, Rust, Server, whatever you want. But then at the end, make sure you do .bat and then hit OK. Now it's going to ask you, are you sure you want to do this? We hit yes. Now, the only thing we're going to do in here is literally write exactly what we just did to download the server, including a few extra things. So a bat file, pretty much what a bat file does, it runs anything specified in a CMD. So the first thing we want to do is load the Steam CMD. So that's exactly what we're going to write, steamcmd.exe. The first thing we want to run. Then we want to log in. So the way we create a new command for this bat to execute inside of the CMD, you put a plus. A plus means, hey, you're done with the first step, now do this step. Now it's going to be the login anonymous. That's the next step. After that, we want to update. So plus app underscore update 258550 validate. Now we're updating it. Once we're done with that, we can go ahead and quit out of the CMD. So plus quit, just like that. And now it's going to ahead and close it out once we're completely done. Save it. Done. So now whenever you run that, it will do exactly what we just did on this screen, which is download and validate the Rust update. Now we're all done with that. You can close out of this window. It'll do a few lines there. You can just completely ignore it, just closing it out. Now I could show you again. I might show you here real quick once what this actually here does. It'll be exactly the same thing. You see it opens up. We connect anonymously right there, and it's verifying the install, and it's just redoing it. Now since it's already downloaded, this shouldn't take very long. So I'm just gonna let you look at the screen, I guess, and see what it does. And once it's completely done, you'll see it'll automatically close itself out. As you can see right there, done. We're up to date with our Rust server. Now to get to your Rust server, you go under Steam Apps, Common, and then right here it says Rust Dedicated. This is your actual Rust server. Now what you can do is, like I said again, this is the most streamlined way to do it. There's easier ways and cleaner ways to set this all up. I'm just doing it this way because that's just how it's designed originally. What you can do is go ahead and send this, show more options, send to your desktop to have a direct path to your server. Again, like let's say if you would set this up on your C drive or somewhere with the server file, whatever, you'd be able to send this exact folder to your desktop. Again, there's other ways to set it up. I can maybe show this in the future. This is just the most streamlined way. So we're going to go ahead in here. You can see here's your actual Rust server. Now what we need to do is, yes, we have our files, but now we need to be able to start them. So again, we're going to create a new file, and we already have our file name extensions enabled. So we can just create a new document, and it's going to be the same exact thing with a .bat file, but this time we're going to name it Start.bat. Okay, just like that. Yes, we want to change it. Now for this, I need you to go into the description and copy and paste exactly what I have in the description, and just go it in here. This is going to be what you need in your bat file. Now, there's a lot of different versions you're going to see of this. This is the most basic streamlined version out there. Obviously, change it to your needs. I'm just going to quickly cover this. There's obviously a lot more commands you can put inside of this. This is the most basic one you need to get started. As you can, most of the time when you see something like this, it is all going to be on one line. You can separate it per line like this. If you put this little bunny ear, whatever you want to call it, I don't even know what it's called, but if you put that there, you can create separate lines. If you have issues, let's see, it recognizes your max players as 175, but it doesn't recognize your host name. That's because you have a hidden space. What a hidden space is, as you can see, if you see where my line there is for my cursor or whatever right here, it goes from there right next to the next line. These right here, as you can see, these are hidden spaces. Okay, all of this right here is a hidden space. Having those will make it not work. Get rid of it. After every single one of these, there should be no hidden space. If you copy and pasted it right from the description, you shouldn't have any issues. But if you run into issues, just double check. Anytime before or after. Before can only be one space. After should be no space. So if I hit delete right now, you can see it brings that line from below back. Just hit enter. Just like that. There should be no spaces afterwards. Okay, and then obviously for host name or description, you would change it to what you want inside of your bunny ears. Again, I don't know what the hell they're called, but you would change that. Now in your description, if you go into Rust servers, you can see they make it all pretty, different lines. If you just go into your description and start typing away, it'll all just be connected as one line. To do a separation, you do, as you can see right here, the /n. That would create a new line. So you would, after this, if you would want a new line, /n, another new line. Okay, that's how you create lines or spaces and have your text start on a new line in the description. Server URL, if you have a website, paste it in there. If you have a Discord server, post your invite link in there. Header image, same thing. Get yourself, an imager on the imager website there. Upload your graphic and then paste the JPEG file in there. Server identity is only what you're going to see. This is what your server is called in the folder for you to be able to see easier. You can leave it. You can change it. Nobody really sees it. So go ahead and hit save, close out of it, and now we're going to start it. Now this will take some time. And while it is starting up, you'll see a lot of new files and folders are already populating. As you can see, server name right there. You can see that's where the server name comes in. So it doesn't matter. You don't have to change it, but that's where that goes. But you're going to see a lot of new things populate, and this right here will take some time. Now you can see something right here in yellow pops up. Nothing to worry about. Completely ignore it. You're going to see a lot of things like, hey, I couldn't find this. Hey, I couldn't find that. Don't worry about it. It's really nothing to worry about. The first time you start up, you're going to get a lot of yellow simply because it hasn't populated yet. Like it'll say, hey, I couldn't find the map you're telling me to use. It's because it's not there yet. It's creating it while this is loading up. So you can see right there, procedural map, size 6000 with seed 976513. That's what we specified in our command, in our server.bat. While that's running, let me go back to it. There's something I forgot to cover. As you can see, size 6583, you can see is exactly what we specified in here. Now, our world size can be anything from 2500 to 6500. Okay? 6500 being the largest. Obviously, whatever you wish to use, you can put in there. Just make sure you stay within 2500 and 6500. World seed, you can spam the keyboard. That's what I did with this one. Or go ahead and there's a website. I will link the website in the description. I will have to search for it. I don't know it on top of my head, but I will have it linked in the description for this video, where it shows you the seeds and what the map looks like. It's a very great website. Let me I might just look for it real quick right now. Let's just Google it together. Okay. Google.com. Rust server seed finder map, server seed map, Rust maps. Well, here's one of the websites. This is not the one that I was talking about, but same exact thing. I will link this one or the other one that I find in the description below. So you can obviously go ahead and, do whatever you want. Select your thing and it'll populate your, obviously no maps found. It probably doesn't know anything like this. But you can see also the map size goes from 1,000 to 6,000. I thought it was 6,500. But you can see it shows you the different maps, and it shows you the size, the seed. You can see right there, seed is 144, whatever, size being 4250. So there's a lot of different websites to see. I think playrust.io is the website I was talking about. Yes, it is. So this is the website I was talking about, and this is the one I will link in the description. It's real nice. You can go through, look at all the different maps, see which one you like the most. When you click on it, it'll actually make it a large interactable map, which I think is very nice. If it would load, obviously it takes a second. But you can see when you click on it, you can see the size is 3,000. And the seed should show here in a second. It's actually taking quite some time. I'm not sure why. There we go. We'll refresh it. So you can see it's actually an interactable map. So it's real nice. I love it. You'll love it. You can just grab the information right from here. So let's close out of this. Again, I'll include that in the description. Max players. Obviously specify anything you want. The max you can use is 500. You cannot go over 500. I usually have it in the 100 range. That way, once your server gets popular, you can create a queue and things like that. That's, again, the basic for this. There are a lot of other commands, not commands, but tags you can use. Tags is what this is called, to include in here. Again, this is just a basic we can use. As you can see, our server is still starting up. It's creating all these different things. You can see right here all these yellow warnings. Again, you can completely ignore them. Nothing to worry about whatsoever. The only time you need to worry is if your screen starts filling up with red text. That's when you worry. So right here, it's counting down. So this is one of the last steps where it's actually loading up the map. So we're going to go ahead and close this out. We're going to see what we created here. There's a couple of different things we created. Obviously, this is just your vanilla server. There's not going to be any plugins, any custom stuff in here. That will be a future video. I will show you on how to download Oxide. Oxide is what it's called for your plugins. Obviously, in here, there's not much you can do. And I'm just going to show you what it looks like once it's finished. I won't be able to actually connect to the server just yet because I have not port forwarded my Windows 11 yet. But once this is done, you can type connect. If you're hosting on the same computer as you're playing on, which I do not recommend, once you load up Rust, you can click F1 in the menu and type connect localhost. For any other person, they would have to connect to the actual IP address. It does take some time for your server to show up in the actual server lists. If it does not show up, it could be one of two things. One, your Rust is not completely updated. Or two, you did not port forward properly. As you can see right here is what I was talking about. Couldn't load server name, procedural map, file doesn't exist. It obviously doesn't exist because it's creating it right now. But there's a couple different things that could be wrong if you can't see it. So the first time you connect, you'd have to, go into the F1, type connect, and then for yourself, if it's on the same computer, it would be localhost. For anybody else, it would be the IP address of your actual computer. Right here, you'll get this pop-up as well. Make sure you hit allow access. And there you go. You can see server startup complete. We're running right now, YouTube server TehhGerman, 190, 200 plus frames per second. Now, if you're running on your own computer or a VPS, make sure that this number is as high as possible. The lower that number is, the laggier your server will be. That's where game hosts and dedicated servers come in handy because they're going to have through the roof frames per second to eliminate all of that rust because there's not any background processes that are needed to run. They're designed to only run what your game is or whatever process you're running or wanting to run is. But as you can see, everything loaded properly. It says we have 0 out of 175 people playing. YouTube, TehhGerman is the server name. So as you can see, everything loaded properly. And the server is now playable as long as it is port forwarded. I did not get the chance to port forward prior to this video, so I will not be able to log in at this point. But believe me, now is the time you can actually log in if you port forward it properly. I will show you possibly a video on a VPS. I don't like port forwarding my personal computer because I don't want the possibility of somebody being able to access this with me port forwarding. I just don't trust the internet that much. So I'm going to go ahead and just not port forwarded. In a future video, I will, if you need to see what it looks like with a vanilla server on a VPS, I can go ahead and I can rent a VPS and I can show you the exact steps, port forward and log in for it. Most likely the next video will be on a dedicated server on how to, use a dedicated server. I'm repeating myself over here. Regardless, the future videos will also include how to give yourself admin, some of the commands that you can use as admins and inside, running you through the basic stuff as the server owner, along with, installing Oxide, finding plugins, making sure your plugins work. And then there's a lot of great plugins out there. So I will go through the most popular plugins that are there, how to set them up, how to make sure they work, how to test them, and all of that great stuff. And that's it for this video. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe if you like what you're seeing. Obviously, give me as much feedback as possible, positive or negative. All are welcome. I'm, still learning. I'm still getting better at this. So any criticism, I'm welcome to it. It only makes me better for the future. If you think I went too fast, too slow, I babbled on too much, I should go into more detail, make sure to let me know so I can better myself in the future videos so it is easier for you to learn. Thanks again, guys, for stopping by, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.